Welcome everyone back to the Crimson 15 podcast. I'm your host, Crimson Sin. Be sure to check us out over on Twitter at C15 Podcast. Today we'll be reviewing Rags Issue 2. I picked this up online. Again, only 99 cents. It's by far the best 99 cents you can spend on a comic. You'll get great artwork. You'll get a fascinating story with great characters. It's such a relief to read a comic and go back and reread it a couple times. That's when I know I really like a story, is when I have reread the 3 issues, the prologue, 1 and 2, about 4 or 5 times now, just because every time you learn something new, you want to go back to the beginning and then start all over again. It's just very refreshing, because I have started so many comic books and I'm like, ugh, I'm done at issue 1 or 2 and I just don't even touch them. But I want to focus my reviews on things that I like and things I want to promote, and this is definitely a comic that I definitely want to put out there for everyone to read. Short review, another great issue. Go pick it up. There you go. But if you want to stay tuned, we'll break it down. We'll go through the things that I noticed and the things that I liked about it. So we have the cover. Another excellent cover. The artwork alone sells this comic. We have our Regina's on the front cover here. Again, looking beautiful as ever. She has this, cool look on her face. You can tell she's like in this wasteland. There's a pile of dead zombies in the background. It just draws you in. It's just like, wow, you want to see where she's going with this. And I bring this up in every issue, but the detail in this comic is amazing, especially on the firearms. You can really tell this is done by someone who's at least handled firearms, actually knows their operation. Because you look at this this rifle here, it's an M4 variant rifle. They got the front sight post right, the flash hider on the front. It's an A1 bird cage. Someone who actually knows stuff. The actual rails and the pick rail are actually all drawn. The barrel nut and everything, the attachment method, it's exactly the way it should be. It's just so refreshing to see good firearms drawn in a realistic way. Because I was reading another comic a little while back called Skyward. It's a kind of a cool story. I like the character designs. But man, when they draw weapons, it is the most lazy, generic-looking weapons. I'll probably roll in a picture, but as you can see on the pistol she pulls out, it's just like a block and a trigger. You can't even tell where the slide is cut out. Like if you pull the trigger, it doesn't look like it would reciprocate, because it looks like one big chunk of metal. Just very lazy. And, when you look at something like this in Rags, it's like, wow, it's like night and day. Yeah, it's a little bit of a detail thing, and maybe it doesn't really matter to the story, but to me, that kind of stuff sticks out to me, and I think that's really cool. And again, just another excellent cover. So we get inside the cover, and we have the same character breakdown and synopsis from the earlier issues. Check out my first review for the prologue if you want to get my opinion rundown on that. Then we jump into the actual story, and this is where I would be my only real complaint, is that the font and lettering they chose here is kind of hard for me to read. It's kind of odd, like the L's are weird looking and like certain letters are smaller than others. It's stylistic, but it's not easy on the eyes to read, but that's just a small complaint, the only real one I could come up with. But then we jump into the actual story. We see the town has been ravaged, it's zombie apocalypse, so cars are all blown up, everything's been looted, and we have Regina here just kind of walking around trying to figure out, okay, I need, your basic necessity. You need clothes, you need protection, you need shelter. And I don't think she's really worried about food and water right now, but that's going to be another issue she's probably going to have to end up dealing with. So she's walking around trying to figure out, where she's going. Then she stops. She kneels down by a vehicle, and she has glass and like debris in her feet. And personally for me, it's like, I don't like things. I always try to keep my feet protected. And she's got blood coming out. She's trying to, just, if you can't move, you're basically dead in this kind of situation. And this is another observation that I make, is that when you're moving and doing things, your mind doesn't, you're focused on the task at hand. Whenever she seems to slow down, that's when you have time to think. And when you start thinking about your mistakes. And you start thinking about your mistakes, you start feeling bad for yourself, and you start, going down that path of, worrying about things, stuff that's already happened. And that seems like she kind of has a breakdown, starts thinking about Sean here. And that was her fiance who got killed by zombies like probably 10 minutes before she has this little breakdown. And that's just something I've noticed about her. She's always constantly moving. She's always trying to get to her next goal, because whenever you slow down and start thinking, that's when all the memories and stuff start coming towards you. So she catches herself, and she's like, okay, not right here. I'm way too exposed right here. Then she remembers her, remember your SEER training. And SEER stands for Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. So those are the things he really needs to focus on right now, because she has no weapon. She has no means to defend herself. She has no clothes. So you don't need to be getting into any fights. You stay alive by not fighting the enemy in this situation. And that kind of training's for like if you're stuck behind enemy lines, things like that. And you need to find yourself way back to friendly forces. You got to remember, you got to keep survival. You can't, don't cause any problems that you have to. And fighting is your last resort. And especially in this kind of situation, she definitely does not want to get into a fight right now. So she remembers that, and she sees out there, they got a whole bunch of zombies, so, don't want to cause a problem here. She sees a Walmart, Walmart. And she kind of has to, get ready, psych herself up. And she even says, okay, just like Iraq, like that one time, stay low, Marine. And what I've noticed from the previous issue, when her fiance called her corporal and brought up her military, it kind of made her break down. She started crying. You can see that it affected her. And even right now, she referred to herself as Marine. It affected her in the same kind of way. But she recognizes that and realizes, no, not right now. You crawl into a ball and you give up right here, you're dead. And she still has that will to fight. Even though she's fighting these past feelings, fighting all these other emotions she has to remember survival is right now. You can deal with those other things later. I got to stay alive. So she's getting ready. She starts moving. Stay low, stay quiet. And you can even see here, this is what I really love about this series that I haven't really noticed in other comic books, is they tell so much story with no words. No captions, no anything. Just that visual medium of the comic book is so amazing that way, where we see her like hiding behind a car, waiting her turn. You can tell that, she's waiting for the zombies to be facing the other way. She makes a quick move. It's just, I love that. It's really cool. And then we see this other guy in the background when she's escaping. He's looks like a military type individual here. He's chopping off zombie heads and stuff. And I thought it was kind of funny that throughout this little first part, they keep missing each other. Like they're on opposite sides of a bus and stuff like that. And it's like, I wonder what would have happened if she would have ran into him first. Maybe get some defense there. I don't know what these guys are doing, probably scavenging for supplies and whatnot, but it'd be good to have someone on your team that has a weapon. So she makes her way into what looks like an auto repair shop. It might even be the oil and tire section of a Walmart. And she's looking around and nothing. She doesn't see anything that can help her out. And bam, she's surrounded by zombies. And of course, she can't fight these guys, so she's going to have to just keep moving. She's running away, runs up a stairwell, down the other side. And then a guy notices her. It looks like a guy with a hunting rifle of some type. And he sees that she gets tackled by a zombie. She's in trouble. He takes a shot. Bam, headshot. And that's a hell of a shot to make that from, doesn't look like, what do you think, maybe 30 yards maybe? And that's a headshot with the bolt action on a moving target, and he didn't actually hit her. That's one hell of a shot. Congrats to that guy. She gets the zombie off her. She's like, still running. The guy's still shooting at zombies. Anyway, going at zombies with the bolt action. You got to do what you got to do, I guess. But she actually makes her way into another building, and there's more survivors. And I'm thinking, oh, thank goodness she actually found someone that can actually help her out. And to me, it was a little surprising. Like, whoa, she actually ran into other survivors before those other people we met in issue 1. So she's with these people now. At least she's going to get some help, which is good because she definitely is in need of it. So she gets, she meets up, it looks like the leader of this group of little survivors is a little mini fro. And he's walking her in saying, okay, let's get situated. Let's get her, cleaned up and everything. And another little detail here, the foot that had all the glass in it, she's walking and you can tell she's like walking on the side of her foot. It's just another little detail to draw the attention that, yeah, she's injured. She has to walk funny. She doesn't have all of her mobility. And it's just another fun little detail there that they kept that thing like, oh, yeah, by the way, she still has this injury here. So the leader of the group here is asking one of the other women to, hey, can you, help her out or whatever. The other, she has no clothes, go, do something for her. And then we get this lady. Oh, my goodness, this lady. Her name is Lehigh. I'm assuming that's her last name. But she comes in just like yelling at her. Like, this skinny B word shows up and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you have to realize the situation here. She didn't come in here. It's like, oh, look at me. I'm going to come in here naked on purpose. You have to realize there was a problem here. And it seems like she has some authority here because, no one's stopping her. No one's, saying, hey, you're going too far. So she's just berating Regina here. And I also like a little touch here too, is because when in this panel, everyone else is looking at her kind of with a stern look too, like they're disapproval of her for some reason, even though she's literally done nothing wrong. And as she's being berated, her character is drawn like in shadow. So it was kind of showing her as like an outsider. Everyone else has light. You can literally see the details on their faces. So they're part of the group. Regina being the outsider, she's drawn like in shadow and darkness, kind of pulls her away from the group. I thought that was a nice little touch. Then she continues on and she tries to plead her case. Well, I'm not, my fiance was attacked and, and literally won't let her even speak. Like she's not even talking to her. She's talking to the leader. Almost like she's not even human, which is awful, especially in a situation like this. You kind of need to have a little more humanity here. So she's going off on the freaking leader saying, how do you know she's not bitten? She's going to kill us in the middle of the night, and basically just constantly berating her like nonstop. And of course she's trying to say, hey, I'm not bitten, I'm clean, I'm just trying to get some help, gonna get some freaking clothes. And then they kind of really go at it at each other, which is actually a pretty funny scene here. And the leader's looking at both of them like, oh man, are they gonna start a fight here? And then we got, Big Girl just throws a sucker punch, gets her right in the face. Like, man, what a freaking piece of crap. And clocks her in the nose. And this is like another part that just disturbed me, but I guess in these situations people don't want to step in. And she literally grabs Regina by the hair and she's going to throw her out to the zombies because she like doesn't trust her. And everyone's just letting this happen. I'm like, huh, geez, what I'm assuming she has some type of pull here, or she has a lot of people's support because they're not stopping her. And it looks like maybe that the leader was going to say something, but it looks like another girl's like holding him back. So it's kind of like they're letting her do what she wants. And it's funny because what happens next is literally 100% her own fault. So in the process of trying to throw Regina out to the zombies, she either trips or falls, Regina pushes her off, and she ends up getting bit by a zombie. Like an idiot. If you would have just been, I don't know, a decent human being and not have been such a jerk, you wouldn't have to have been getting bit. They shoot off the zombie, but she's been bitten. And now she's all, oh, don't worry, and all happies and smiles. Oh, yeah, it's okay now because it's you. They just kill her. The leader guy just shoots her right in the head. And it's like, nonchalantly. And again, no one really reacts in the group. And he's like, oh, yeah, she's been bitten. She's going to end up killing us all. So he just had to shoot her. And it's almost like, yeah, you had to do it. But it's almost like nobody cares. So these other girls are there, and this is after she got shot, and then he's like, oh, can you go help her out? And this is where they start speaking Spanish, and my Spanish is horrible, absolutely terrible. So Google Translate had to be my friend for this situation. So basically he's asking these other two girls that were there. They look like they might have been family to the lady who was shot, because they seem to have similar hair and skin tone. So I'm assuming they were either friends, family, and something like that. So he asked these two girls to help her out. So the two girls are there, and they're trying to say, okay, come with us. And she's looking back at, they're throwing that other lady out, out into the street because she's been shot. She's going to turn. And she seems to be the only person affected by this. Like, nobody else in this little survival group seems to care. And it actually affected Regina more than anyone else. Like, she's actually, like, sobbing over it. And she was attacked by this lady. Then they lock it up. They put a board on the door, and they put they barricade it a little bit so they're, keep the zombies out. And here we have, and they take her back to find some clothes and everything, and then the two girls are speaking Spanish, and there's like saying, oh, again, I had to use Google Translate, and they're basically like, oh, what's the problem, see, Forever 21, they get her basically a bikini, better than nothing, good for us, not so much for Regina, right? And she's there trying to, get all fixed up and everything. She gets her clothes on, she finds a jacket, you can see she finds a handgun here, and the leader guy comes in, tries to talk to her or whatever, like, basically, how'd you get to this situation? He recognizes her tattoos, saying, hey, you're new here, you're not from around here, I would have recognized that ink you have. So then she's like, I don't want to talk about it, we'll talk about it later. And he respects that. He's like, okay, we'll talk tomorrow, here, follow me, I'll take you to some place to sleep. And they basically gave her that Lehi's tent, the girl who got shot, the big girl, and it's like, okay, you're gonna sleep here. And then it's like surrounded by garbage. I'm assuming that's to throw the scent off of zombies, or maybe the Lehi girl likes sleeping around garbage. I don't know. I'm assuming there must have been a reason for it, because she even like covers her nose, so it probably doesn't smell all that great. So she climbs in, getting ready to sleep, and like I said before, whenever you slow down, whenever you stop, you have time to think. And when you have these hard emotions, she's dealing with her PTSD, that's when she starts thinking about all these situations. She starts crying again. Then she gets a little knock at her tent, and it's the other two girls that helped her out. and they're complaining about how, oh, no one can get any sleep when you're crying like that, and it's like, come on, understand the situation. She tries to give him a smile, like through the tears. You try to like, okay, I'm sorry. And then they give her like that, ugh. What is this, Mean Girls? Like, geez Louise, can these people be any worse? I'm assuming they had some type of relationship, either family, friends with that other lady who got killed. So they don't like Regina right now, even though it was all the other girl's fault. She literally got herself killed, but they don't see that. And then they start speaking in Spanish again, and they basically say, well, I got a plan to get her back. So I'm assuming they're going to try to set her up or something. We don't know if Regina knows Spanish or not. I don't know if she does, but she kind of gives them a look like she hears they're talking, maybe because she can't understand them, but they're going to do something. Then we get back to Regina, gets back to sleep. And a little shocker here, though, this whole comic is in black and white with color touches here and there. Then we get a flashback scene completely in color. I don't know the significance of that. Maybe this is just my spitball theory. Maybe back when she was a Marine, when she was feeling good about herself, that's when everything was, real to her. That's why everything's in color. Everything's alive. And now that when she's dealing with the PTSD, in the present day of the comic, everything's black and white because she's dealing with all these other negative emotions, so it literally makes the world black and white to her. That's just my, digging too deep. Maybe I'm not digging deep enough, but that's the way that I see it. So we get a little bit of a flashback here. I'm going to skip this because I want you to pick up this comic and read it, but it's very significant to why she has to deal with the things she's dealing with and how it hurts her. So I'm going to skip this whole next scene. So make sure to pick up the comic if you want to see this flashback, but it's very, very important. Then, she has that flashback, memory, nightmare, wakes up, zombie right outside her tent. I'm assuming that Garbage is throwing off these zombies because they would have went straight to her tent. And she looks around the survival area and bam, everyone's getting eaten by zombies. And she thought this was a safe place. Apparently not. Zombie starts making her way towards her tent. And then we get the guy who was the guy with the red bandana around his neck, the leader guy. He comes out, he's shooting at zombies, he's telling her to get out of here, what's going on. She wants to know what's going on. And it says someone must have left the doors open or something. I'm assuming it was those two girls. And you can notice that the big girl who was shot is zombified now. She's up and running. So were they setting Regina up? Maybe they thought they could funnel some of the zombies to her to get her killed. I'm just speculating there, but I'm assuming those girls did something and ended up getting everyone freaking killed like an idiot. Then he guns the big girl down and hands Regina a rifle. And this is another fun touch that I thought was great. You can see the guy, the leader guy, he's shooting from the hip like a moron. Regina has her rifle up, got its shoulder. She's aiming down sights, taking aimed fire, while this other guy's like spray and pray like an idiot, wasting ammo. And it's kind of cool to show that she had training. She knows how to use a weapon correctly. This guy, not so much. They're shooting off zombies. And looks like they're doing a pretty good job of it. The guy gets attacked from behind. Boom, he gets a zombie on his neck, so he's down. Regina books it for the door, knowing that she's not going to be able to fight off all these zombies. Gets the door open. She's on the run again. She's looking back, and, she's on her own again. She had a half a night of protection, and now it's all gone. At least she has some clothes on. It's a bikini and a jacket, but it's better than nothing. She has a rifle on her. And we're still in the past here, and I wish I had issue 3 to read right now. What a fun series so far. Like I said in the beginning, another great issue. These first 3 issues, Prologue 1 and 2, are shaping up to be a great story. I want to move forward. I want the next issue right now. That's when it's just something where you want to keep reading, and you always leave them wanting more, and I'm always left wanting more at every issue. And I'm glad I found this series, and this is, I found this just on Twitter. People were talking about it, sharing it. The creators are really cool with people online, and that drew me to the story. So support good creators, support positive interactions with fans. There's so much negativity between creators over at the bigger companies. They seem to berate the customers, berate the fans, and these guys here at the whole team at Rags is doing an amazing job. They're cool with everybody. They even have a kind of a merch store, so they even have stickers and stuff. I bought a couple of those stickers. They're on my gun locker right now. I'll probably roll in a picture. And they just have all kinds of fun stuff. It's great interactions. You can talk to the creators on Twitter. They'll answer you. It's just really cool to have that. Never did I think that someone who made something such a cool-looking artwork and story would even care much about their fans. But in this day and age, we have we have different opportunities now to interact with our creators, and these guys are really, really cool. Everyone on the team. So be sure to pick this up. I'll be following it all the way through. I'm sold on every issue so far. Besides the font choice on that first page, I thought it's a little too cluttered. Besides that, story-wise, character-wise, I love Regina. I want her to do better. I like seeing her survive. I want her to deal with her issues, come to terms with things. I want to see her triumph. I said that in the last issue too. That's something about the hero's journey that's important. You see their highs and lows, and you see their journey, and you see them climb out of the lows that they got into, sometimes by their own fault, sometimes by others, but they don't give up either way. And that's Regina's a character to look towards who does those things. I've seen people complain about her. Oh, she's such a jerk. She's so mean. When you take everything into account, everything that's happening to her, everything that has happened to her, you can kind of understand, and you can see that those are faults, and she is trying to deal with those faults. You can see the character is going to have growth, and she's had growth since these first issues. So, stay tuned for when issue 3 comes out. I'm going to be all over that. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, hit me up with any questions, comments over on Twitter at C15 Podcast. Hit me up here on YouTube. I'm more than glad to answer questions, respond to you guys. Thanks for watching. Crimson Sin here. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, sub, and share. Also, for the most up-to-date information about the podcast, follow us on Twitter at C15 Podcast.